Hey everybody, good morning. I just wanted to finally do the dream I had promised, especially guy in the comments named Joe. This video really is at your request because I wasn't going to tell all my dreams until, God told me I should, and I'd been praying about it that he would show me when to do a video about this. And it's weird, I haven't been able to do it. Like, so many things keep coming up at work and this and that, and it wasn't like that before. I could have done it any time, but all of a sudden, too much stuff happened. And then this morning I'm like, Jesus, should I do this? And I had all my dreams written down and I couldn't find the paper, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do it until I find the paper. And I just look in my pocket just now. It's in my pocket. Like the second I thought it just now, it's in my pocket. So here it goes. There's a lot of dreams, so I'm going to start off first with the ones that have to do with soldiers and like atomic bombs in the military and stuff like that first, because there's a lot of those ones. First though, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Yahuwah, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I pray that you please let people understand this message and let them spread it to all the people that might listen. And I pray the people that don't want to listen might be triggered in their spirit to pay attention to what we're dealing with right now. There's a lot of confusion amongst Christians, and there's a lot of people that are dead asleep that are Christians right now, and I pray that they might wake up. I pray that you might wake them up like you woke me up. And even though it's very hard to understand and it's very hard to believe, I pray that you break this spirit that is binding people's minds and rebuke it in the name of Jesus. By his blood, I pray that this message get out to whoever needs to hear it. Thank you, Lord. In your name I pray. Let it be so. Alright, first of all, these dreams started happening a little bit before my house burnt down and a lot after my house burnt down 3 years ago. Some of the first dreams that started happening is, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Centurion, but in the movie Centurion, there's these like Tanes, they're called, and they go after the Roman soldiers. And yeah, I understand that, the Roman soldiers are not our friends, but in the dream it was signifying, what happened in the movie. So I knew in my spirit in this dream that these things were coming to kill me, whatever they were. So I had been thinking and hearing about, Jade Helm and all this stuff and whatever. So in my dream, these Tanes that were chasing the Roman soldiers, they basically were chasing me, and they were in canoes, and they landed on a shore in the woods, at a small lake. And I knew in that moment when I saw them land that the soldiers that are coming to the United States just landed. They're here. They were on our soil. Now, if they were here for training and left and are coming back, or if they're just here now and they're in plain clothes and you can't tell they're there, I knew they were here. This same group of people from the movie in the dream I was at my house, and I live at the end of a road. There's a little hill, and then it goes on to a 50-mile-an-hour road. So a lot of times in my dreams, it has always meant that I'm running from something when I go over this little hill. So I had gone over the hill. I'm going down to the main highway, and I look behind me, and they're chasing me, and I run and I jump under an 18-wheeler. And as I look behind me, I jumped and ran under it. I look behind me, and they're skidding underneath it right behind me, chasing me. And I have no idea why I knew this, because it doesn't really make sense unless you think about it like the way that it was explained to me in the dream, is that when when all this happens, when all this catastrophe starts to happen, the trucks are not going to come with food anymore. And when they stop coming with trucks to, fill the stores, that's when we need to be on our guard, running, because they're going to come for the Christians once the food shortages start happening. I don't know why I know this. I'm just telling you what happened in the dream. So, another dream I had shortly after this, I was on a beach and it was dead pitch black, and the only thing that I could see was the entrance to a military underground bunker on the shore. I could see flashes. It was pitch black, but I could see flashes from bombs going off. I could see what was going on around me in flashes like a strobe light. And there was people running on the shore. They were freaking out. And I could see on the shore, like in the movie The Matrix, like when those robots are coming like really fast, like they were going along the shore like this. I saw what they were. They're like, they kind of look like Transformers, but they're all black, and they're like not all human looking. Like they're all like it's almost like part human, part spirit. They have like a mist that comes behind them, and they kind of like float. They look like dragons, but they're a little bit different than dragons, and they were coming like at full speed from the ocean towards us, and people were freaking out because they could see them too. So I'm on the shore and I'm going under some piers, like the piers that come out onto the water, and I'm going under there and walking around trying to maneuver around everybody. And then I go into the bunker. I look to the right, there's a little room at the entry with a soldier, and he's just like doing nothing, like just sitting there, and the whole bunker's empty. Nobody's in it. So I don't know what that specific dream means, and I've tried to decipher it in my mind, so I'll leave that one to anyone else that might have an idea what that means. But for myself, I'm wondering if it might mean, that people are not prepared, people have no idea this is coming, people are not going to be ready or even have time to get to bunkers. But that was that one. I'm just going to try to bang them all out right now so that you guys can kind of see what I've been dealing with. Most recently, almost 2 months ago, I had a dream that the United Nations soldiers showed up at I live on the second floor, and outside of my porch, I looked down and it was spring. It was like springtime, and we didn't know anything was happening. It was a normal day. All of a sudden, UN troops showed up, and they had blue helmets. They were not white people. They were just like all different nationalities, and they just showed up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was not ready for this. Another dream I had back in the day, a while ago, was I had a dream that there was an announcement on a loudspeaker that was positioned in all neighborhoods. There was a loudspeaker, and on the loudspeaker, I kind of knew it was like the president, but I couldn't hear the words that he was saying. And these giant gorillas were walking down the street all of a sudden, and they were ripping people's roofs off, and they were looking for things, but they didn't take. We were all hiding under beds and hiding under stuff when they ripped the roofs off. They were giant gorillas, like 50-foot, 60-foot gorillas, and they had like green beret hats on, but they were like the red ones, and full military gear, everything, and they were just walking like soldiers down the street, just walked up to a house, ripped the roof off, and then they could see inside. They looked around, and that was it, and they left. But they weren't looking for what people thought they were going to be looking for. They did not take your supplies. They didn't take your like bug out bags. They didn't take any of that stuff. I think, and I don't know if this is true, I just have this feeling they were looking for Bibles. They were looking for like Christian material, because it's funny, I know this is kind of, I'm a Christian, but I know this sounds weird, but I at the time when all this was happening, I was more worried about stuff to protect my family, when all you need is a Bible, because the disciples, they went out with nothing. And I know it says that once Jesus leaves, we need to have a bag and pack it, but I'm just saying, Jesus will take care of the rest. All we need is him. So anyway, the before all these dreams started, like one of the first dreams I had was my mom and my brother were on the left and the right of me, and we're in the woods, and they're riding their bicycles, and they're behind me, and I'm riding my bicycle in the front like a triangle, like a duck V, you know. But my bicycle, my front tire was flipped backwards. So while I'm riding, I pop a wheelie, flip my wheel around, and then drop it. And I knew after that I was the leader of the group. And it's odd because my parents are Christians, but they don't listen to me. And the fact that my dad wasn't there means that my dad was probably dead. And I don't say this lightly. My dad's one of my best friends. But my parents, they're Christians, but they don't believe that any of this stuff's going to happen. They watch television. They go to church. They don't, they don't think we're in the end times. And when I tell them about it, they're like, well, we'll be okay. And if I die, it's fine because I want to go to heaven anyway. That's not our attitude, guys. We need to be reaping this harvest that's coming. Jesus will supernaturally protect us. But that doesn't mean that you don't, pack a PB&J sandwich for the ride. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I was standing one day. I'm just going to go through the rest of them. That's basically most of the soldier ones. But, interesting one. I was in the woods behind my parents' house when, I was conquering a lot of stuff. I was quitting smoking. I was doing a lot of changing in my life and things like that. And I was in my parents' woods, and these two demons were in the woods with me, and they were following me. And I just straight up walked right up to them, and I stuck them right in the face with a knife, and I killed them. But it wasn't like a regular knife. It was like a spiritual knife, and I cut their heads right off. And after that, honestly, I haven't even thought about smoking. All the things that they must have represented, they straight up were gone. And I had another dream like that before my house burned down. I was not living for God perfectly, like, nobody's perfect, but I mean, I wasn't living pure. And all of a sudden, I saw myself in a room at a table, and there was all these demons just sitting at the table. And I had never seen demons like this before. They looked like those black and white characters from Mad Magazine. That's what most of them looked like, with a long, pointy triangle snout. And there were 6 of them sitting at a table. And the 7th one came from upstairs and walked down the stairs and looked at me, and then went and sat at the table. They were talking about me. Those are the demons in my life that were in control of the crap that was happening in my life because I allowed it to happen. And I knew all this stuff as I'm watching the dream. I knew exactly what like everything was about. Never had that dream since then. Because after that, I knew what it was, so I started getting rid of all the sins in my life. And I was a Christian, professing Christian, and I had these demons in my life. And so I'm telling you, if you're a Christian and you smoke pot, you smoke weed, you have a drinking problem, you have a porn problem, you have a masturbation problem, you have any of these problems, these are sins that you need to rebuke and get rid of, because there is no time left, people. I'm telling you, there's no time left. Anyway, back to the dream. Recently I had a dream that there was my wife and I and my 2 children were walking down a highway after a catastrophe. All the skyscrapers are in the area. It was a minor city, but they had tall buildings, and there was like sheets hanging out the windows, and people were looking out at us because we were walking. They're like, why are you outside? And there was a huge wave behind us. It must have been a mile high probably, but it was just sitting there. It wasn't moving. It was just a wave just standing still, but I could see the water moving, but it was like, in Moses when it just parts and it's just sitting there. It was like that. So, I take baby strollers, like 3-wheel baby strollers, and I rip the guts out of them, and I turn them into, walking things that you can carry packs with. So, in my dream, my pack thing was there, and we were pushing it with all our crap, and all looking around, all these people are looking at us, why are you guys outside? So, we're coming up around this corner of this highway, because, you could just walk on the highway because no cars worked. Coming up around this other building, it was blocking our view. We come around the building, and there's another wave, a bigger one in front of us, and it's just standing still too. So we're like, all right, we can't go anywhere else. We got to go. So we go into a basement of a broken down building, like professional building, and after that, just black. I don't know what happened after that, but I wasn't afraid. So I don't know what the meaning of that dream is, but I know that there is a wave coming. It's on our money. You can go look it up. They print that stuff on purpose. There's something about the laws that are currently in place in the spiritual realm where they have to tell us what they're going to do to us. Or maybe they just want to frickin', shove it in our face and laugh at us and think that we're stupid because we're controlled by our televisions and we're controlled by our prescription medications. And there's plenty of people out there that go to church and say they love God and they're on prescription medications. It's pharmakia, people. It's pharmakia. That's what it is. That's a mixing of, drugs. Unless it's something you need to stay alive, you don't need it. I'm telling you right now, you don't need Xanax, you don't need that, and all you're stressed out. Well, give it to God. Jesus will fix all that stuff for you. Trust me, I was the most stressed out person in the world. So, just give it to God and He'll fix it for you. Trust me. And I say that because I've been homeless. I've been, the next day, I had nowhere else to go, and He just found me a place to go, and it was beautiful, and it was nice, and it was exactly what I needed, and I didn't even know what I needed. Same thing He did with my wife. I was so angry at life, and I had so many problems, and God just gave me the perfect wife. He's like, here you go. Because I prayed for it for 2 years, even though I was messed up and I was smoking butts and I was smoking weed and I was doing bad stuff. He just gave it to me. So pray that for yourself. Pray that for your life. And I'm not talking about Joel Osteen, self-help guru crap, satanic praying stuff into existence. That's not what I'm talking about. Ask God, your Father, and He will give it to you. Because a father does not give his son a stone when he asks for something to eat. It doesn't happen. Just ask Him and He'll give it to you. Anyway, I had a Jafar dream, like Jafar from Aladdin. I was walking into a building. The guy was showing me around his building. I'm looking at all his paintings, and it was really weird inside. And I'm like, I feel weird in this place. So I go upstairs, he's showing me around, and I see a big painting of Jafar with his snake staff on the balcony of a place. And all of a sudden the painting came alive at the palace. So he's on the porch in the movie, and all of a sudden he came alive, and he's laughing, and his snake staff is spraying chemicals everywhere. And then it cuts to all these cookie cutter residential houses. It's snow on the roofs and on the driveways and stuff, and there's Christmas lights or something up, and they're blinking, and people are going in and out of the garage, back and forth, just in and out, in and out, in and out. But they're not going anywhere. It's in the driveway, back in the garage, in the driveway, back in the garage. And I'm telling you, it's probably has to do with this crap is coming towards the holiday time, But what do I know? I'm just telling you what God told me. I don't have an explanation for all these dreams, so you can take it as you want to. I'm just a messenger, So. I also had a dream one time that I was on a ship, and there was gasoline barrels on it, 55-gallon metal drums, and they were on this little boat, but I was on it with one other person, and all of a sudden the boat started sinking, and me and this kid are trying to crawl up the barrels, and then we couldn't get off the ship. We just had to crawl on these barrels. So all of a sudden it's this, the Titanic going down, and I am at the peak, and I jump, and the dream ends, but I see the kid that was on there with me. He couldn't make it up the barrels, and he's gone. That was it. And I worked at a company, and found out later that this kid kind of looked like the kid in the dream. And I was working at the company. I was basically the number one new sales guy there, making a killing. And all of a sudden, the guy just lets me go and tells me that he can't sustain how much I'm selling. So he just had to cut me and take my salary and put it towards the company. That company had been in business for 25 years, and all of a sudden they went belly up 2 months after I left. And God allowed me to get a new job, but all my friends that worked there, including the kid that was in this dream, they all had to find jobs immediately, and they were screwed, and they all had families too. So God protected me from that situation too, because every day I'd witness the kids at the place where I worked. And I'm telling you, God's protected me so many times I can't even tell you. The second protects me like that. I don't even question Him anymore. I don't even ask nothing. I pray and I ask, what should I do? But I don't ask questions anymore. He's gonna protect me no matter what. And if He wants me to die, He's already had it planned. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He knows the beginning and the end. So I'm not scared about nothing. Anyway, I work in Boston. I was standing on the Tobin Bridge, and I saw Boston done. All the bridges broken down waves like this, because they were all the pillars underneath them were broken. It's the earthquake that's coming. I don't know if you know this or not, and you can turn it off if you think I'm nuts, but there is more biblical scripture that proves that the earth is actually flat. It's a disc. It is circular, but it's on pillars. that's what God's going to kick when this earthquake happens. God is going to disrupt this world because nobody's listening. That is going to be what triggers all this. He's going to kick the foundations of the earth. You ever been in building? You ever seen a globe that's sitting on a foundation? Like, no, it's like this, and it's on pillars like this, and hell is like under us. And that's what the aliens are. They're just demons, physical manifesting demons that are, in our biological realm. It's not that hard to figure out. And they, with humans that are evil, create spaceships underground and military bases. That it's proven. Like, they didn't kill, Phil Schneider for nothing. No, they didn't choke him to death for nothing. They know this stuff is real, and they don't want you to know about it. Keith Green, you ever listen to his music? 1982. He died when I was born. They killed him. The CIA killed him. Some lady that was a Satanist was crying and saying that they killed him. They put a bomb in his plane and killed him because he was bringing too many people to God. Satan reports to real people and tells them what to do. If they're bringing too many souls to Christ, they kill you. And God allows things to happen so that others might be saved in the future. And I'm telling you right now, I would not be saved if I didn't listen to Keith Green's music, because the Spirit moved through his music, because my parents used to listen to it when I was a little kid, and after I went through all my bad stuff in life, I came back to listen to his music again, because I was like, oh yeah, my parents listen to that, I'll listen to that, and all of a sudden I'm bawling, crying, and I want to go back to God, the prodigal son. That's my life. So back to the dreams. I was in a city. I was sitting on the back of a military Jeep, and there was a pile of cash, like huge, billions and billions of dollars, and they're all burning. As they're burning, I see in the distance a nuclear bomb go off over the mountains, and it's in the dream. I could tell it was the distance from me to like New York. I could see it though, that kind of distance. It was insanity. I've also had hundreds and hundreds of dreams over the course of my life, but more vivid recently, of me hiding in houses, in walls, in air ducts, in commercial buildings. Basically everywhere. Hold on, I gotta pay the toll. Have a great day. Before all this stuff happened, most of the dreams, I was praying to God, and I had discovered most of the extra biblical texts, like the, all the things they took out of the canon originally when they put the Bible together, like Enoch, the Apocrypha, all those books of the Bible. When I found those books, amazing things started happening in my life. And at night, I dreamt that I was on one side of a river, and in the sand below my feet was a pile of cash, but I didn't care about the cash that was below my feet. I cared about a Native American that was standing across the river from me, smiling with his, must have been his wife, and they were just smiling at me, looking at me, and they had a huge fish, and they just handed it to me. And I knew in that moment that represented what I had just found. I was the fisherman that threw all the little fish back and kept the good fish for myself. That is what the Apocrypha is. It is the third testament of God. It was the testament that was thrown away. This is the denial that it talks about in the Bible. When Peter, I believe Peter, Caiaphas, when he denies Christ 3 times and the rooster crows, those are 3 millennia when we as Christian nation, as Jewish people, as all different denominations of people all over the world denied the Word of God, because you don't have the right to say what the Word of God is. You need to be led by the Spirit, for the Spirit to tell you what the Word of God is. And the devil is clever, and he has taken truth and he has given it to all different denominations. These are what the rings are, like the Lord of the Rings. He has given the rings to all different churches so that they might fight over what they do and what they don't believe, and what they do and what they don't know. But here's the base. the foundation, the cornerstone. It's Jesus Christ. And if any of these denominations do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and they deny him in any way, shape, or form from when he came 2,000 years ago to now, and they say that, oh, he came then, oh, he was in the desert, he came in 1918, he came in this. No, he is coming again soon, but he has not come yet. But the son of perdition has been announced. Go look it up. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Go look up that the son of perdition has been announced. And I saw Satan falling from heaven as lightning. Paraphrasing, basically. It's been announced. And nobody even cares. There is a great delusion, and it's happening now. It's not going to be some big thing like, Blue Beam Project might have and all this stuff might happen. But just look around you. Nobody's paying attention. They're all looking on their phones like this. And I'm not saying don't look at your phone. I'm just saying, look up. Jesus said, look up. Your salvation has come. Look up. Nobody looks at the sky anymore. Nobody looks at the stars anymore. Maybe if you looked at the stars, you'd realize that we are on a flat surface. And that the reason they don't want you to know that is because if you knew that God is looking down right now from his throne and looking at you on a flat thing, and he can see you, see you. And when you look up at him, and when he comes back, all people will see him. People in China, people in North America will see him at the same time because it's flat. Look up, for your salvation comes. This is what the Nazis knew. They know the earth is flat. Why do you think Kerry just went to Antarctica and all that crap? They've already found, where they know where Atlantis is. They know where all the ancient pyramids are up in Antarctica. All that frozen tundra up there, that was the old world, and it was made desolate by God. It's a desert, but it's frozen. And they know all this. They know where all the entrances to hell are. They know all this stuff, guys. Satanists know a lot. And Christians are like, I'm not looking at that. I don't even want to know. Well, take a note from a very smart general of an army. Sun Tzu said, you win a battle through knowledge before the battle is even fought. And they know this. They're smart. They figured out that they can't beat us as Nephilim giants, so they didn't work on being giants. They worked on their brains instead and hid among us. They've crept in unaware, and you don't know it because they can transform their appearance. And you say, oh, that's not fair. Well, it is fair if you are willing to fight a fight that you cannot see your enemy, and you let the Spirit lead you to fight this war. Sorry for going off on a tangent. Let me finish what I was saying about dreams. So, I was running through the woods, and these three dudes, huge guys, looked like Guile from frickin' Street Fighter 2, were like chasing me. And I don't know why I knew they were like Russians, but they were Russians. I'm not saying I think that, the Russians are coming, but they probably are, so that's who they were. I was in a rock, and they were all like, they didn't have shirts on, so I was getting chased in the summertime. And they were freaking huge, and they were gonna come and get me for some reason. And, I don't think they killed me because I saw myself later, but I threw a knife at one of them, and it didn't hurt him, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if I really did that or not, or I don't know if this is gonna come true or not, but a lot of my dreams have come true. So, cut to the next dream like that. I forgot about this military dream, which is pretty interesting. I'm in a warehouse in the military. I don't know who's military, but they had, camo fatigues on. They have me handcuffed in this warehouse. It's open on one side, and there's a bunch of crates inside. And the crates are all stacked on top of each other. Anybody who's played like Call of Duty, you know what I'm talking about. So, I'm in there, and there's people in the streets going crazy. They're like killing each other in the streets. Everybody's killing each other. But the military has like certain missions they're trying to complete. And so I can see it's chaos outside, chaos everywhere. And the military that's got me, they're talking or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear boom on the roof. they all run outside to go see what it is. And so I'm left alone, but all that's handcuffed is my arm. So I go outside and look around. People are running crazy. And I look up on the roof, and all of a sudden, a man, huge man, with an eagle face and like weird armor on with wings, lands on the roof and looks me dead in the eye, and then the dream's over. But as he lands, I can see in the distance, in the far distance, on every rooftop everywhere, these eagle things were landing. And I don't really think they were there to help me, but take it as you want it. But go online, you can look at the YouTube video of like Congress talking about something attacking the human race. And personally, I think it's the Nephilim coming back, and they know they're coming back, and that's what the Catholic Church has that telescope for. And I think that's when they're gonna announce, who they think the Savior is. We know it's not Jesus, really. It's just Satan. But that's kind of what we're dealing with, guys. We're dealing with the end. This is the end. It's like the happiest time I can imagine. I'm going to heaven. I don't care what happens to me. It's gonna suck, but whatever. Because I smoke cigarettes, all my teeth in my head basically have fallen out, except the front ones. And I've gone through like some pain that you cannot even fathom unless you've had like a burn on your body or cancer. That's the only thing that I think could be as bad as this tooth pain, because it's like direct to the nerves to your brain. And my teeth are cracked in half because I didn't have dental. And if you've had that kind of pain and you've lived through it, you've lived through popping like 4 Advil and 4 Tylenol at once every 2 hours just to stay alive, and you know what I'm talking about. But once you go through that pain, it's over. Once that stuff happens, it's over. And for eternity, Jesus said, your pain that you will go through, because he knows we're going to go through pain. Your pain that you are going to go through is like an hour compared to like your life. Because when you're going to live forever in his kingdom with him in peace and happiness, you're not going to forget all that. That's why he calls it the birth pains and all that. Because once you have the baby, you're like, woohoo! You don't give a shit about all, excuse my language, you don't give a shit about all that stuff. Because you have your baby, you don't care. And then you like say, I'll never do that again, and then you have like 4 more. But back to the dreams. Hold on one second. Sorry for another tangent. The Jafar dream, that one came true too. The other day, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of people sick right now. I refuse to get vaccinated unless they chain me down and vaccinate me, but good luck with that.